Are you ready for your window shoppers to become paying customers? Ecwid Ecommerce is here to make that happen. We can help you automatically show the exact product visitors saw but didn't purchase on your site wherever they go on Facebook and Instagram using this magic called dynamic Facebook retargeting. To show these ads to your prospects today, sign up in your Ecwid control panel in the marketing section and look for the Facebook remarketing app. This is fully integrated into Ecwid and Facebook and so simple and effective you'll wonder why you hadn't done this sooner. Okay, back to the show.
This is the Ecwid E-commerce Show with your host, Jesse Ness, along with Richard O'Tay.
Happy Friday, Rich.
That day, it's back. We are here. Friday Podcast Day.
It's Friday Podcast Day wherever people are listening. Maybe it's Friday, maybe not.
Maybe Wednesday, maybe Monday,
yeah.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
But just think of Friday.
Yeah. So we're in our Friday mode, everybody. And so today, very excited. I think if I was starting over on the internet world, didn't already have a job, didn't already have websites and stuff, I think I'd probably fashion myself into a chatbot consultant or just try to add chatbots to different businesses and sites because I think there's just a huge opportunity there. And I really wish I had more time to focus on it because I see it, but I run out of time every day. So, maybe today, if anyone else out there is kind of got that same feeling of man, I keep hearing about chatbots. I really want to learn more. That's why we brought on the guest today. So let's bring on our guest, Nick Julia from Mind Heroes. How's it going, Nick?
Hey, thanks, guys.
Yeah, good to have you on. I'm super excited too. I just like Jesse. I'm super intrigued with chatbots, but I also love the world of voice, and I find them very similar because really it's just conversational commerce, conversational marketing. So really looking forward to picking your brain and hearing more about your insights. It sounds like you've been doing this for a while, right when it got started. So why don't you give us a little background to how you got into it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. So I started really right when Facebook Messenger opened up the Messenger API to everybody, which was late 2016, I think. Don't quote me on that, but
wow. I mean, that's amazing that it's only 2019 right now. So this really hasn't even existed for that long.
Yeah, I mean, the whole concept has, but when it really got effective for people, I think was when Facebook started doubling down on this stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, I started then and actually took a class right away from Andrew Warner. I don't know if your audience is maybe familiar with him from the Mixergy podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, we had him on another show.
Okay, sweet. So I was actually in his very first class about messenger marketing and didn't know who I was going to work with. And it just turned out that e-commerce was a great fit. So we started working with more and more e-commerce companies. And I actually now teach at his class, Bot Academy. So.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, actually, I heard him speak at one of the conferences here recently, and then he kind of had a little event where you could go drink bourbon with him, and I was like,
"Yep,
all right, Rich, hey, FYI, sign up for this messenger bot." And then I didn't make it, but I'm like, all right, you got me, we're gonna go.
And he probably sent you a couple of reminders like, "Hey, come to Scotch night."
Yeah, that's right. It was Scotch night. I'm like, man, I don't not really in the mood for it because it's the morning, but that sounds like a good idea. So anyway,
did you make it to that?
I'm sorry.
Did you make it to it, Nick?
He has them occasionally when there's events and all of that. So it's I've been to a couple of them. Yeah.
All right. Funny. Okay. See, you saw the appeal there.
All of it, but
yeah. Well, not surprised. Yeah.
Just kidding.
All good. So you got. So now you're hooked up with Andrew Warner doing chatbots. Took a class, and now you're teaching classes. So now we know your advanced level. We're going to have to try to break it down to some actionable tips for, people getting started in e-commerce. So how would you tell somebody that has never, or maybe let's start off with what the heck is a chatbot if people had no idea what that is?
Yeah, so I think how you guys touched or on voice stuff, I think people are generally more familiar with that right away. So it's almost like Alexa, and shit, of course, mine's going off now.
Of course.
but
Yeah.
but in Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
Plus all the stuff we can do that you would think you can do like in a traditional like text message or Facebook Messenger. So it's just an automated version of messages you would send to friends, but that can drive business for you.
I like that. We like business.
Yeah, what's the difference between that and like a live chat? Is because I noticed some live chats you have like pre-configured things. I mean, there's a little bit of similarities, and I've heard some people use chatbots as a live chat too. How does that work?
Yeah, so you should absolutely be using chatbots with a live person.
Okay.
Like that is 100%. There should be somebody there if at all possible, because bots are great at certain things. They're not great at handling complex situations. And that's where if you have that live person that can step in when they need to, it's a huge advantage for you. But versus live chat, just live chat on your website, a bot can automate things, right? So we're starting to handle all the small pieces and bits that you don't want to deal with. So where's my order is probably one of the biggest questions e-commerce companies get.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to answer 500 where's my order emails a day?
Yeah, no, thank you. If you're selling like 2 things a week, sure, you can handle that. But once you start doing some volume, that becomes you don't want to deal with that.
Right. So, in the same thing with live chat, like you would have to outsource that or do something, and the quality of the answer is sometimes inconsistent. So, things that are a bit rote or FAQ type stuff, chatbots excel a lot. You can make them smarter, but there are issues with that. So, we try to stick to the basics, at least at first.
Okay. All right, so that makes sense. So basics like, so you want to help people with the order emails. When are you open? What are some other basic questions that a chatbot can handle?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, think of anything you have in your FAQ section.
Mm-hmm.
That's the sort of thing that is fairly easy, like a 1-sentence answer or so. Or you can point people to your shipping policy if it's larger, things like that. So we don't have to keep them inside Messenger, absolutely. If we can link out to your website and provide other customer service avenues. But customer service is only one piece of what a bot can do.
Okay.
So in a situation like when you said, what's your order?
Yeah.
Like that sounds like there'd probably be some sort of integration that would have to get set up, because I'm assuming if you're saying that could be automated, where's my order? You're going to probably, you at bare minimum are going to have to say, well, what's your order number, right? Would that be like the first reply back via the bot, and you would try to get a little further down the line before a live person got involved? Or would you have to then, have some sort of integration with order status?
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Like the funny thing is, like not the funny thing, the nice part is if somebody opts in and orders, you do need a third-party app to do this, but you can actually track their shipment and do all that stuff without them even entering an order number. But if somebody hasn't opted in and gone through that whole process, yeah, you're right. What we need to do is ask for the order number, and then you probably use Zapier or something like that, send it to you guys, and then have something sent back to the customer. So that one's maybe a little more advanced, but it depends. Sometimes it can be as simple as just sending them to a status page in the shipping integration. I mean, it's yeah.
So since most of the Ecwid users, although there's quite a few that are far along in their journey of e-commerce and they kind of have lead acquisition down and a few other things down, what are the things that you would recommend a beginner in e-commerce use chatbots for? Like, what are a few use cases and that they could get started relatively easy and find something useful in using chatbots kind of right away?
Yeah, fair question. Probably should have started there. So if I were just starting this now for somebody, I like to start at the bottom of the funnel because I think that's where we can make the biggest impact. So most of these guys probably already, and I think you have a dynamic product ad retargeting set up with Facebook.
We do. Yep.
You can do. Yeah.
Yep.
So I would also split test in messenger retargeting ads.
Okay.
So the advantage of using Messenger, so you would basically you'd need a bot, first of all, and you need to set up a Messenger ad. The same retargeting would apply, right? So you just have a pixel, you segment your audience based on people who have added something to cart but have not checked out, right?
Okay.
And you can do it, yeah. So that's basic. But now instead of sending them directly to the product page where it's basically purchase or don't, you're sending them to a chatbot. And usually this looks like the ad has some sort of discount. So your first message is, hey, click here to claim your 10% off discount for whatever. And as soon as they interact and press that button, they're now a Messenger subscriber. Think of those just the same way you would as an email subscriber. So you have these people captured on the list where you can keep talking to them and marketing to them. Okay, so that's the first big advantage, right? So it's not a take it or leave it thing. We have them on a list right away.
Okay. And so now how did they get on that list, right? Like, so you said they abandoned a cart, and now there's pixels that are firing there that are making that happen. And those, there are some steps there. So for people listening, if you've never done dynamic product ads, like, yeah, you might want to do that first. But, you know, because we're tying a couple things together here. But okay, so they opted in. Do they opt in only when they see this in Messenger and they say yes, they want this discount, or have they already opted in some other way?
No, so the ad is the exact same as you would see as a traditional in-feed ad, but the call to action opens Messenger. So when they click on the ad, Messenger opens up. Then they have to do something inside Messenger. Okay, just seeing the ad isn't enough. They need to take some action, whether that's saying no thanks. Ironically, that also subscribes them, although you have to be careful with what you do with those people.
Sure. Leave me alone, and then they're subscribed, yeah.
Exactly, right? So you need to segment that out. But you're now creating that list as soon as they take any action inside Messenger.
Got it. Okay. So I think that is, we've talked a little bit about chatbots with maybe previous episodes, but this is kind of a new one for me that I hadn't thought of before. So you're not actually asking for the opt-in to the list. You're actually really not asking for the opt-in. You're kind of getting it. But it's people that have seen your products. Now they see it on Facebook, and then you're asking for the opt-in, giving away a little bit of a coupon to do it, but you're building this really good list. So that kind of begs the question of like, so why the heck do I want to build a Messenger list? Like, what's the value in it?
Yeah. Same type of question. Why would you want to build an email list?
Okay.
So the traditional notion with email is you make about $1 a subscriber.
Mm-hmm. Per month or?
Yeah, I mean, each per message sent out is usually. I mean, the rate varies a ton, but
sure. And I've heard that stat before, so I just wanted to clarify it.
Yeah, and so what we've seen with Messenger is, look, the open rates are a ton higher. Generally, for like these first messages that you send out, it's about 80%. So if you compare that to your email, where you're getting an open rate of, I don't know, 20%, 30%, maybe, if you're good.
Sure. Yep.
Then click-through rates are usually also very high. Again, if we're just talking like these first couple messages, they hover like 68 to 80%. So you're just by just having that alone increases the value of somebody on your list, because they're more likely to take action. They're more likely to see it and do something you want. So they actually become more valuable in a lot of ways than email subscribers.
Yeah, and I would imagine that a lot of this is really sitting down, getting a whiteboard out, and saying, what is my customer's experience right now? They just went to the website, right? So I'll do a hypothetical, even though I don't have a whiteboard right now. So they just went to the website. I kind of go back to your initial thing. They got to the product page, but they didn't get pixeled on the thank you page. In other words, they didn't buy something. And now I have dynamic retargeting set up because we've already done that already. And I'm now going to make an ad go up in front of the person who got to the product page but didn't buy the product. So if I'm trying to think from the customer point of view in the world of e-commerce, I don't know this as a hard stat because they might have just not bought because they're at work and their boss came in the room. I don't know why they didn't bought. But from what stats I've seen and the experience we've had over time, it's usually some sort of shipping issue or some sort of trust issue. Like they're probably sold on the product. And so in this case that you were referring to as an example, maybe even putting a testimonial video so they don't even know, because now you're looking from the customer's experience. They were there, they see this product now, they see your brand name again in their messenger feed, and maybe it's just a testimonial and it's somebody showing themselves using the product, and that little difference, that little teeny thing that could maybe down below say, I don't know, it might be creepy to say, are you still interested in this product? Because then it's kind of like it is like it's following you around. but saying, hey, is this ever been something you're interested in or whatever? Just something thinking out the actual what the customer was going through when they abandoned. You don't know for sure. Again, there's many things that could have happened, but trying to really think out what were they thinking when they were there and why they might not have done it, so you can continue that conversation via Messenger later.
Yeah, so the really cool part with Messenger too, and there are a couple pieces of this. So you're saying like, okay, yes, let's think of why the customer didn't end up purchasing from us. And you're right, shipping costs, like unexpected things, maybe some trust. The cool part about Messenger is we can just ask. Mm-hmm. And we can present a couple different options, the most likely, or ask somebody to type their answer in. And you'd be surprised how many answers and how in-depth people get with you. There was a funny study that it's not e-commerce at all, but it was for a therapy bot. People were more willing to disclose personal information to a therapy bot than they were to an actual live human.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. That's a good point, though. Something you just said. I want to, before you continue, you say you just ask, like, why didn't you buy? Right? Just straight to the point. Maybe not that harsh, but just something along those lines. Hey, notice you're here. You were at our site. Notice you didn't buy. We really like feedback. We want to improve what's going on for our customers. Can you give us the reason you didn't buy? You could hear everything they might say. I was at work and I had to go, or whatever. And you're actually not only potentially moving them back into the buying process, but no matter what, they could be giving you more information to change things on your site, or they're giving you the questions to ask, to put in your bot for those FAQs like you were talking about.
Yeah, 100%. So it doesn't end there, right? Like if depending on their answer, we can save all those so the merchant can see them, which is usually pretty easy from any. So you need a chatbot platform, but we can maybe add those or talk about them later. But whatever response they give, you can also send that out to like a Google Doc if that's where you want to save all your stuff, or tie it into your CRM. So there's lots of stuff, so it doesn't have to stand on its own. So you can figure out later, like, look, this is an issue for our buying process in general, and here's what a lot of customers are saying.
No, I think that's great. Yeah.
What about? Go ahead. You finish your thought here, and then this will slightly go off topic. I mean, it's still on chatbot topic, but different part of it.
So yeah, I mean, and then depending on the answer, so if you come in and say like, shipping was a little high, well, maybe the bot can actually handle that and say, all right, we actually have a discount for 5% off or whatever it is. But if you say something like, I didn't see a trust symbol, or like we talked about, or something even more like, I didn't quite find the right product for me. Now we can automatically hand that off to a live person if it's not a simple situation where they can instantly respond to those objections and barriers to the sale.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was actually going to say, so this is great. Like these are good things, right? These are either someone's already on your site and they're about to buy, or they did buy and they're trying to find their order. Or what about actually acquiring customers? Are there very many people that are using it in a way where someone can actually acquire leads or acquire customers?
Yep. So that's the other spot to start, really. Top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. And the process is probably pretty similar. If you have a custom audience, I mean, we would go back to probably using a Facebook ad. If you already have a ton of traffic from your site, there are things we can do on site. But if we're just talking about ads, yeah, you're going to give something away. Could be a coupon. It doesn't have to be. That's probably the easiest thing to set up. But you can also create quizzes to tell the user a little bit more about themselves and how the product would work for them. Those, you really have to know your customer well for those to be effective as lead magnets. Or you can give something else away that's of value. We would do the same thing. We'd get them back into the bot so they see the ad, they click, and we get them back into Messenger and deliver whatever you promised. Right there, though, you can also ask a customer for their email address, either before or after giving whatever that lead magnet is. So you can also push people from your Messenger bot into your email list, have them both places, which you should be doing anyway. It's not just about the bot.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. So, all right. So we're doing Facebook ads. So everybody listening there, you've hopefully done some Facebook ads. If you haven't, it's not that hard. But in the Facebook ad, you're using the chat or like a messenger conversation as the goal, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're using a messenger conversation. I forget the exact term that they use inside the ad manager, but I like the idea of like, hey, you have to offer up something of value. You probably, if you don't have enough room for a little margin, a little coupon in your product, you should probably mark up your prices a little bit so you can offer coupons. That's part of the game here. So you're offering up a coupon, which means they're more likely to buy anyway because now they have this coupon. But now you've kind of sneakily added them to your list. So getting back to a conversation before of like, why do we want to do this? Why do we want to have to build this list? So now when they are on your list, if they buy, then great. That's awesome. That was your original goal. But now you're building this big list, and then you can communicate to that list down the road, just like you would an email, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you don't even necessarily need to wait. So if they come, you offer them something, they go into Messenger, and then you send them back to your site to purchase. It's a little more advanced, but we can actually trigger, if they add something to cart and then don't purchase, we can actually trigger abandoned cart messages in Messenger and do lots of stuff along the way, and try to re-engage those people. I would say one more thing. You never really want to try to trick people that they're on your list. Like, we try to be pretty upfront about that it's a bot.
Sure.
Because that'll actually eliminate a lot of frustration. When they think they're talking to a live person right away, you get some issues.
Yeah. And trick was probably the wrong word there, but like, you're trying to get people onto your list however you can. And
you also said sneakily.
Sneakily trick them. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm using a lot of bad. Yeah. Let's cut that part here. No. But you are trying to build a list. I guess that's the point I was trying to get at is you have a goal here. Merchants have a goal of building your list, and the reason you want to build this list is because that's the gold right there. And the messenger list is kind of the new email list, if you will. So there are a lot of ways to build it, and this is a good strategy to do so. So yeah, no, it's not a trick.
But yeah, exactly. So you can re-engage them later. Now, I don't want to get too far into this in this call because it is a little more, but Facebook just at F8, which was like a couple weeks ago, there's some new limitations on how you can reach out to those people on an ongoing basis. So you do have to be careful and get somebody who knows what they're doing with Messenger to help you navigate that.
Yep. So now we talked a little bit about third parties. So let's dive into that a little bit because, you know, like people are thinking, oh, I know Messenger. Yeah, you know, I have it on my phone, and like you can get a Messenger widget to put on your website, but that's not a chatbot. That's just a Messenger. That's just essentially a live chat, if you will. What do third parties offer in addition to just having, you know, Messenger by itself?
Yeah. So the whole list part that we talked about, you need a chatbot platform, a third party, to start building your list.
Okay, so Messenger by itself, if you went to Facebook and grabbed the little Messenger widget code, threw it on your site, you're not building a list. Is that the case?
Pretty much. None of that can really be automated. So you could go back to your Facebook inbox and manually send everything, but it'd be like sending a manual email to everybody on your list.
Okay, so yeah, you're not doing that. Please don't do that, anybody. Okay, got it. So that's where the third parties come in to start building that list.
Yeah, exactly. And then it also lets you automate some of the stuff we talked about, right? So click 10% off to get my coupon. Okay, here's your coupon right in Messenger. Okay. Otherwise, again, how do you do that? There's no way.
You would be just typing all that or having people type that. So, and then also the functionality that you mentioned, the chatbot might notice the questions about shipping. So that's also where, you know, like how would you, let's say for instance, anybody asks anything about shipping, you want to, you know, have the chatbot spit back the link to your shipping policies page at a minimum. So is that fairly easy to set up in a chatbot platform?
Yeah. So the basic stuff is fairly easy. You do have to be a little careful because what you're going to set up is called a keyword, right? We'd probably take one word out of there and say shipping. So if somebody mentions shipping or says, "Where's my shipment?" you can do a phrase. Then we can trigger your shipping policy to be sent to that person as a message and maybe a link to your website. Okay. But what happens if somebody says, well, do you ship to Idaho or China or wherever?
Yep.
Are you going to handle that the same way as track my order? Like, where's my shipment? So that's where it gets a little complicated. So we try to just send them to maybe a main FAQ type thing where they can navigate with buttons. We do try to stay away from keywords at a basic level because of that.
Got it. No, that makes sense. And I have played with chatbots before, and I think that was some of the issues, right? Like there was, there was a lot of issues, but I definitely see the need for having a live human behind it. But yeah, like we set up some sort of contextual, you know, question, and then people would get kind of frustrated with the answer at times. You know, like I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can turn into a crappy experience pretty fast, especially if they think that a human is powering any of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's where coming in, where we noticed at one point where we actually said, you know, I can't remember the exact name of the bot, but we named the bot, and that actually helped a little bit. And one question I do have is on some of these platforms, can you delay the response time so it's not super fast? So sometimes if it is that strange question that is a little bit off topic, or maybe it's, you know, like you said, do you ship to another place, and it's not just spitting up policy page, but it's actually a question that a live human should answer. Can you delay the response time of the chatbot so someone else might be able to do that, like, you know, a minute or 30 seconds or?
Yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't actually thought of that approach to it. Usually what we do is if there's something the bot doesn't understand or can't respond to well, we notify the live person, or just tell somebody, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. We notified the team, but here's what I can help you with. And that, again, probably leads back to like an FAQ or a main menu of stuff.
So how does it do that? Wow. Like, how does it notify the team? Does it have a trigger that sends them an email, a trigger that sends them a text?
Yep, exactly. So it can be an email, or it could, for certain platforms, it can also do it right inside Messenger. So let's say you came in, you're like, hey, do you guys, like I said, ship to China? And the bot doesn't know the answer. Oops, sorry, we just notified the appropriate team member. So anybody who's on the Chatbot platform can be notified with ManyChat right inside Messenger.
So it'll notify their messenger.
Correct.
Got it. Can it send a message to Slack?
That's a little more complicated, but yes.
Okay. Got it.
You can set that up.
Got it. Okay. Because if it's notifying their messenger, I'm worried that, well, they should already been in the messenger, so it might have just went into a place that they're not going to see it. So,
sorry, I guess I should clarify. It actually notifies the personal messenger, not just the business messenger page.
Okay.
So it would be like if for your store, your personal profile would get a ping from the live chat platform saying, hey, this customer had X question. Go check it out in our platform. Go answer them.
Got it. Okay. And it's pretty hard to ignore messenger messages because your phone dings and it pops up on the top of your phone.
Yeah, but you're right. Like wherever you handle that stuff, we can get it there. But at a basic level, either an email or right inside Messenger are kind of the out of the box solutions for that.
Okay, so Messenger, email. And you mentioned the third party's ManyChat. Is that kind of your preferred platform right now?
ManyChat and ChatFuel are the two we use most.
Okay. All right. And any, do you want to discuss them a little bit? Like, hey, what is, well, hey, you don't work for ManyChat or ChatFuel, so, speak freely. Like, what should people be looking for when they're looking at a third party?
Yeah. Look, either platform is actually really, they're great. They both have some pros and cons. ManyChat is probably a little bit easier if you're a marketer. It feels like a marketing automation tool that you've used before. ChatFuel is adding some of that in, but if your background is coding, that will probably feel a little more familiar to you because of the way it's set up. They both offer templates at a basic level. I would highly caution people, don't rely too much on these templates. It's almost easier to set it up on your own because by the time you figure out what the hell the template is doing, sometimes that can be difficult if there's not really good documentation to go along with it. But yeah, you'd be fine with either one. They both offer pretty deep insights into your audience members and can do pretty much everything we talked about here. And if they can't, they also have integrations that work with them that can help you do it.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. And so when we talked about those third parties, you have to work with one of those third parties to build up that messenger list. So for anyone listening, if you didn't catch that, like you kind of need to work with a third party to build that list. And that is the goal here among the many other things we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way that we can broadcast out messages. If we're talking in terms of email, like push out a broadcast, or, even after somebody purchases a welcome sequence, like you would, like, hey, welcome to the family, right, from email. Mm-hmm. The big upside is people actually see them.
Yeah. And yeah, that's important if you want to sell to that person again, which I hope you do.
You also mentioned you're building these lists, and you said you could segment. So I'd take it that this is another thing that these third-party apps do well, is they actually help you segment the audience. Is that a truism, or am I just making
dreaming?
Dreaming up, like, oh, these people bought from you. These people landed on this page but didn't do anything else. Like, is there a way to start at least to segment that list in the whole list?
So the first yes is the answer to it. But if you're starting out, you would just try to start segmenting what people have done inside of your Messenger bot. So did they click on the 10% off coupon? You can create a segment of those people. Did they not? Well, maybe we have to follow up with them again, right, inside Messenger. Linking your website to what's happening on Messenger is a little harder, but yeah, it can definitely be done. It's just not something out of the box.
Got it. So in your opinion, it's why you probably said you want to combine a live person with this, because they might notice those little intricacies like, oh, this person actually just bought. I saw the order go through, so I'm going to reply a little bit different. But when it comes to actual marketing to your list on Messenger, if you go off of the activities that they did on Messenger, you're probably going to help that experience. Plus, you'll probably be a little bit better at making sure you're keeping up with Facebook's terms of services too, because if you start combining too many things, you might start doing too much marketing. I'm air quoting over here. So I could see what you mean. Like, they've done this in Messenger. Don't try too early on to combine your website. They clicked on this in Messenger. They saw that welcome video in Messenger. They haven't opened something in the last 3 days on Messenger, whatever. I'm making a few things up, but specifically kind of target them and market to them based on what they did there more than what they did overall.
Right. So, we could do an example real quick. Let's say that you have a tea company. So the first question might be, hey, well, let us help you try to find the right tea for you if you're not sure what tea you want. So are you looking for caffeine? Are you not? Right? So then we could segment those people and send them to different answers, different places, and start understanding customer preferences along the way. So we have one tag that says black tea, one that says green, one that says, all of that sort of stuff. So we can segment pretty deeply inside Messenger.
Okay. And then you could send them information based on that answer, right? Like, okay,
Yeah,
you like this kind of
exactly.
tea. Here's a video on the proper preparation, or trying to not go immediately for here's the product you should buy and here's a coupon.
Yeah, exactly.
Because really that's what you want to do, but that's not the appropriate way. You're going to scare people.
But if you have a blog about, the 10 best uses for black tea or whatever it is, you can pop something up on your website with a specific, like what we just talked about, quiz or finder, or just, some testimonials, things about the black tea that people would be interested in seeing, and lead them down that path. And once they've taken enough actions and expressed enough interest in your bot, which would be essentially segmenting people, then you might offer a coupon if you think that person's closer to that ultimate decision of buying.
Got it. Okay. So now, imagine I'm somebody that's never heard of chatbots really, or just basically heard of chatbots. How complicated is it to set something like that up? Because we talked about a lot of different things, and I've seen the back end of chatbot platforms. I know it's actually, I'd say they're a little complicated. But how hard is that kind of process to set up for somebody if they really dedicated a couple hours to it? Can they accomplish that?
Yeah, I would keep it basic.
Okay.
Don't try to do too much in there. Don't try to automate too much. All the stuff we talked about is cool and great, but I would have a live person taking a look at this and being able to respond, if not right away, then within a couple hours, ideally. Mm-hmm. So you set up a couple things. One is going to be a welcome message. So if somebody comes into your bot, what are they going to see? And your example was perfect of, hey, I'm, whatever bot. Here's what I can do for you, basically.
Yep.
I'd set up a customer service flow. I need help with something. So that probably would go to the live person right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would set up two others, and those would just be your ads. So messenger ad, a little bit of flow delivering the coupon or whatever it is. And I would do something slightly different for the top and bottom. And the last thing I would do is a default reply. So what that is if somebody says something or does something the bot doesn't understand, what message should somebody see? And that's usually hey, let me get you to a live person to start. So those 5 things.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think, and also the live person I think is super important. So I have, I actually turned off my chatbot for a little bit because it was getting, boy, the live people would ask questions on the weekend and then they wouldn't get answered, so then it was super annoying. So it's like,
especially because they had just gotten answers for a little while and then it just died.
Yeah, the clock turns 5 o'clock, no one's answering anymore, and then they're like, hey, what happened? They were getting these instant answers and then nothing, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's something that can be dealt with. We can set kind of office hours, if you will, but again, that's a little more advanced.
Yep. What is your thought on, using a chatbot for, we'll call it like live chat on the website? So we talked about different bots, but we didn't necessarily talk about where they show up. So, are you pretty much, when you have a new client, like, oh, first things first, put this chat widget on your website or not? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on your goals with it. And then also, where do you have traffic?
Okay.
Right. So it's like, are you doing something already that's working really well for you? Can we do that better with a bot? What sucks that you want to automate? And then are people actually going to see it? Is it going to matter to you? So if you have some traffic on your website and you're already using live chat, yeah, absolutely. It's a great idea because now you're capturing people on the list. You have to be very careful in telling people or future communication with those people because they're not expecting that. But if you're upfront about it, then yeah, you capture those people. You at least you can segment them as well. So you know a little bit more about their preferences and you can use it as a live chat. So you don't need one if it could be a replacement.
Got it. Yeah. And that's how I used it at first, is it was essentially a live chat replacement and then added some chat to it. And yeah, I think maybe customers had weird expectations from it. So I'm definitely going back into it and I'm going to redo it. But yeah, I was just kind of curious on your thoughts there. So
yeah, I mean, the customer service piece is frankly the hardest piece to get right in a bot. So it depends what you need to set expectations if you're trying to use it for that, or just get people to a live person pretty fast.
Okay. No, I think that's really helpful and makes a lot of sense. Like, chatbots won't solve all your problems right out of the box, but it can do a lot for you. And maybe customer support, unless you're ready for live chat, that's a difficult one to chew, because you don't know what kind of questions they're going to ask, but they're sometimes not happy either. Like, they're sometimes mad about something, and then you throw a chatbot at them. That doesn't make them feel better necessarily.
No, you get a pissed off customer that's even more angry about having to go through. It's like a phone menu almost, but much better.
Yeah.
But like when you're already pissed, you don't care. You're just like, come on.
Yeah. No, I get it, and I think that's probably where I made a little bit of a mistake. Where I was trying to have it do too much, where maybe I should have focused in on the 5 options you mentioned before, which are maybe better for marketers. And if you're trying to build traffic and build sales, there are other things to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of live chat on your website, it's great, but you can automate some of it, like I mentioned, like an FAQ type thing. So my first pop-up thing might be like, hey, I'm this bot. Here's what I can help, FAQ. Or do you need to speak to a live person? And that handles most of those objections because right away they can get to where they want to go.
Yep. No, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, it's people's experience with chat so far. And what I mean by so far is like in the history of chat, which is not, I mean, it's kind of a long time, but not with Messenger, right?
Yeah.
But it's been customer service. So it's kind of a tricky one because it's always been a person sitting there. Sometimes it takes a long time and you can see them typing and they're actually probably now they stop for a second. They're probably going to talk to someone. Like, their experience has been coming up through customer service. So if you don't keep that in mind and you're trying to market while they're thinking they're trying to get customer service, it could backfire quick, I could see.
Yeah, that's a perfect point, right? So, and that's what we really tailor our messages, the first thing we say to somebody, based on how they get into the bot. So if we're talking about like on-site, the little messenger bubble, or even from your Facebook page directly, and they send you a message, Those are usually customer service related.
Got it. And so
but
maybe
from an ad.
Yeah. So with those customer support people, do you want to tag those or like use more of a, hey, that goes to a live person ideally, so that way you don't end up in trouble?
Yeah, I think it's what we kind of talked about. It's like, let's try to automate this a little bit and there are reasons to automate some of it, like with an FAQ, because your live chat's not going to be there 24/7. So if we can answer some of those questions, people are happier if it's like 6 o'clock and they can just say, hey, what's your shipping policy, or click on that and get it. But yeah, pretty quick, they need to either be able to get a short answer from the bot or go to live.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like that. And then I cut you off there a little bit about you were going to give a marketing tip there.
Yeah, it was just like, look, the expectation is different if they're coming in from a Facebook ad, because that's marketing focused. They don't have a customer service concern, probably. Maybe if they have abandoned cart, actually. So that's something you do need to consider a little bit. You might want to give a live chat option there as well, because your customer service person is probably going to handle that objection better than your bot could. But yeah, the expectation is different. So that's what we want to focus on, creating messages that meet those expectations.
Okay. No, makes sense. So I want to come back a little bit to the Facebook example you mentioned, because I think this is the one where, if you want more traffic, more sales, how can we, so let's take a look at a new merchant. They're getting some sales, got some traffic and everything, but they want to do this strategy we talked about. They want to have a Facebook ad that goes to Messenger and then delivers a coupon or something. So should they use like other ads that they would use? Like what would be the advice to somebody getting started with this? What should their Facebook ads say? Like, hey, you want a coupon, or like how can we get in, help people visualize this so they can make this like something they can do this next weekend?
Got it. Yeah, I mean, so if we're talking about like retargeting,
probably not retargeting, because like let's think of they want to prospect, and which prospecting is harder than remarketing. I get it. Yep. But like let's go with a prospecting example.
Okay, perfect. So basically, you want to tell them a little bit about your product. So a little bit, not about your product so much, but the benefit they're going to get. So focusing on the customer. So here's XYZ, like use this tea, you'll sleep like a baby at night. It's a terrible piece of copy, but try, for first-time customers, try this. We'll take 10% off your order, or maybe get free shipping with whatever. And the call to action at the bottom is very similar to what you would see with a regular Facebook ad. It just has a little messenger icon on there, and it'll open in Messenger. So you don't have to change a whole lot. You can say something like, and we'll message you if you really want to emphasize that. But frankly, you don't even need to. It just needs to be a good ad, and then it opens in Messenger. What you do have to be sure of is, look, let's make sure that the ad copy and our message have a tight fit, meaning like one leads very much into the next. The images are the same. The wording is kind of the same. You're delivering on the promise.
Got it. Okay. So, and really the assets we're talking about here is you need a picture. Okay. Well, you need a picture for a whole bunch of other things. So everybody, if you don't have a picture, this is a problem. You want to go take a picture of your product maybe it's in, have it in a good setting and everything. And then a little bit of copy that talks about the benefits of your product. And then that messenger thing that's kind of built into the Facebook ad. And then have your chatbot ready to deliver on that promise. So it's really not that many steps. So if you listen to all this stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a lot, it's really not that hard. It's a couple things that you need. So
yeah, exactly. You got to build your ad inside Facebook. Then you go over to your chatbot platform to build your message. And with ManyChat, they're going to give you a little bit of code to paste into Facebook's ads manager. And then you're basically live.
Okay. See? That's not so hard, Rich.
No, sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like we should.
Should we build a chatbot this weekend?
Yeah, maybe it's time. Are we almost done? Can we just get started?
I think we're almost done. Yeah, maybe we're going to go. All right, we're going to set up an account. So, Nick, do you have a place where people can go to set up an account? Or do you have a chatbot example you'd like to share?
Yeah, so if everybody wants to go to Mind Heroes, so it's mindheroes.com/Ecwid, I'll have something for you guys there.
All right.
Awesome.
I like that. So we can see all this in action because it's a lot of words. Sometimes it's hard to grasp what the heck a chatbot is. So I do think people should see it live. Like go to that link. We'll include it in the show notes and on the page, and check it out for yourself. So
And just know, Nick, I'm gonna mess with you. I'm gonna go there and ask where my order is and see what comes up.
we'll see if you can break.
We'll find out how good it is.
I'm giving you some heads up.
Yeah, we're gonna try to break your chatbot. So everybody else listening now, let's
Don't
see
do
what you
it.
can
Just
do.
get the
Go
free
mess
gift.
with it. Yeah, Rich, any last questions here for Nick?
No, I'm excited. I just wanted to get to work. Let's do
All
it.
right, we're gonna do it. Nick, thanks for being on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Well, Rich, there's another great show.
And when you add it all together with the other shows, you won't miss any strategies or new tactics on how to grow your online business.
So to make sure you don't miss anything, subscribe on your favorite podcast player. Rich, what player do you like?
Probably Stitcher.
All right.
How about you?
I'm an Apple podcast guy. I'm an Apple guy on that.
Yeah.
And we're growing right now. A listener asked us to add Google Play as a platform. So we just added that a couple weeks ago. We have Spotify, SoundCloud.
Nice. We're everywhere.
So subscribe on your favorite platform and don't forget to rate and review us.
So we know what you think.
Yeah, rate how we're doing, review on what we have done, tell us topics you'd like us to cover, tell us if you think we're great and you are going to take over the world.
Subscribe, rate, and review.
It's the only way we'll know, and it keeps the shows coming. Thanks, everybody.